Yo, Wendell here with Average Dude Slow-Pitch. Today we're bringing out the brand new standard issue from DeMarini. Again, this is a Headbanger exclusive. I'm not sure if they're going to drop any of them on the actual DeMarini site, so just kind of keep an eye out for that. This should be dropping here in the next week or two. I'm being told they're going to do some sort of kind of reveal on it on the 8th, so obviously that would have passed by the time you're seeing this video. And then here within about the 16th to 23rd time frame of August should be the release. So obviously, as I'm recording this, I don't have the exact dates, so there's a chance I just gave you dates that have since changed, or you're seeing this video and obviously a date's officially out there. So when we post the video, I'll also have the release date in there, so just keep that in mind. And if you haven't seen it, go back to the post, go over to Facebook, whatever, and it'll have a release date for you there or on the Headbanger site. That being said, 13.5 inch barrel still, half ounce end load. This is back to the ZN alloy handle, so if you swung like the Twisted Mistress or Vanilla Gorilla this year, for instance, those were the super stiff composite handles. So this is that same ZN alloy that was on last year's standard issue, or on this year's Not a Lie end load, or Jason Magnum's Black and Cream Not a Lie Vanilla Gorilla. It dropped at the beginning of the year. We're gonna go ahead, put some 52s on it real quick. Once we get about, I don't know, 25, 30 52s just to test performance with it, we'll go with Pro M's like normal, ZNs, the regular Pro M's, and Razos, and then we'll come back with final compression, final thoughts. Out here at Alamo, we're typically 320 all the way around. We had to back up the plate just a little bit. I don't know if you can tell, but that batter's box is destroyed and it's so hard on the dirt out here, we couldn't really adjust. So we're about just 10-ish feet at most behind there. So no big deal there. So closer to 330 today. And our wind right now is currently blowing in towards the third base kind of bleachers. So really not much of an assist either. But let's get some swings, come back, final compression, final thoughts. All right, we're gonna go ahead and test our brand new DeMarini standard issue. Again, like we mentioned earlier, still a 13.5 inch barrel. We got that 1/2 inch end load. Slightly different paint job this year. Kind of a little bit of a, not a complete tacky barrel, but tackier barrel for sure. Still got Jeff Roxby, Joel Sanchez, and Dustin Roberts' names on it. And this one's got about 20, 25 swings on it, by the way. We swung it off a tee a little bit, but even then, still right at 275, maybe just a hair under, which is kind of what we expect from APC Tech. Let's go see if this thing is pretty similar to kind of what we've seen with some of these Twisted Mistress, Lady Cartels, and Jason Magnum's Vanilla Gorilla this year. Come back, final compression, final thoughts. All right, again, we're starting with 52s here. We have all ZN Hycon 52 300s, so we'll swing some of those. It's about 90 degrees out right now. The bat was in my truck for the last like 3-ish hours, but it wasn't too bad in there temp-wise, just because I had to go to work obviously first. Balls were in the back of the truck. We've checked them. They're not overly cooked or anything, so shouldn't really have much effect on the overall performance.
100 miles per hour. 96 miles per hour.
It feels pretty good. I mean, that was sweet spot, I think. It's obviously hard to tell with the softer balls, but I guess we'll see.
81 miles per hour.
That's better. Now.
87 miles per hour.
I mean, that's through the wind. We got wind going straight that way. I mean, it's not overly strong, but you see the flag out there, it's blowing just slightly, but either way, I think it was a slight miss early on in the day. Still getting loose, and we still were able to carry it almost 330 plus.
84 miles per hour.
Ooh, I'm locked in right now. It's 2 strikes in a row.
100 miles per hour.
There's that sweet spot. At least for me, I'm not a big long barrel fan normally. Twisted Mistress about as long as it goes, 13, and even then, it's one of the few 13s I swing. I have found that until you do, for me, I need some BP with this one, at least last year's standard issue, to figure out exactly where that sweet spot is located on the longer barrel. Once you find it, it's great. And the good news is the rest of it's forgiving, so it's not a huge deal. But to find the no-kidding sweet spot, if you're not a long barrel fan, like normally you swing 13, 13.5, 14, I would make sure you get some BP on this so you can get used to where it's at.
84 miles per hour.
Really?
96 miles per hour.
Yeah, so I mean, it's definitely good with the 52s. I'll take the performance we're seeing. I'm not 100% sure if I found the sweet spot specifically too consistently, just because with these softer balls, you don't really get that sound. There's been no feedback on the hands, so I mean, no sting, not catching low, so that's good. But once you go to Pro M's, I'll have a better idea kind of where that sweet spot is. I would say it's not quite as good as like the Twisted Mistress models with the 52 so far, but it's good enough that if you're a long barrel fan or you're looking for something new, you want the alloy handle, whatever, it's still worth going to. We're not seeing a significant drop off, but there's just been a slight drop off so far.
85 miles per hour.
It's a good 52.
100 miles per hour. 97 miles per hour.
Yeah, that's a sweet spot. Yeah, I mean, on line drive, you can see the wind blowing in and out a little harder. Went over easily. So again, like I said, good overall with the 52s. I mean, if I was in a league with just 52s and I wanted to swing U-trip, this would be one I'd consider. Especially if you're somebody who's like the DeMarini feels, the alloy feels, longer barrel, all that kind of stuff. But you saw the swings kind of with everybody. Good overall speeds, good forgiveness for sure. Let's go ahead and swap over to Pro M's now, see how it performs before we come back with final compression, final thoughts.
100 miles per hour. 104 miles per hour.
Yep, there's the sweet spot.
81 miles per hour.
You're gonna recognize your
99 miles per hour.
I mean, through the wind, that ball was launched over our island. I think we might have put the island up before in the past. I'll put it up here now. So at least now you have a reference kind of for what those distances are when you reference the island.
82 miles per hour.
Where do you?
101 miles per hour. 83 miles per hour. 102 miles per hour.
Yeah, I will say, I think I've talked to Mike Cornell about this with DeMarini before. I think the difference we hear in sound with this, yeah, it's a little bit of a different paint job than like the Twisted Mistress, but it's definitely the alloy handle that I think changes it a little bit. So you just gotta get a little bit used to that kind of feedback if you've been swinging, let's say, the Twisted all year, something like that. But other than that, I mean, other than sound change, you've still got that good performance out of the APCs. Sweet spots, so far, I think on like the 104, 101s, that's the sweet spot. Feels good, and ball's coming off strong, especially for how kind of hot it is. And it's kind of punching through the little bit of gusts of wind we keep getting. But super forgiving, which you'd expect and you want if you're gonna have a bat with a 13.5-inch barrel.
100 miles per hour.
Yeah, I mean, you can't want more than 100 on some sort of launch angle there, so got into that tree pretty fast.
81 miles per hour. 95 miles per hour.
And there's the forgiveness you want, because that was towards the end, and we came just short of the fence, which is about 330 from here.
84 miles per hour. 100 miles per hour.
Yep.
85 miles per hour.
Yay!
95 miles per hour.
Yeah, the sweet spot, or I'm not gonna say the no kidding sweet spot, but the spot where the ball is gonna come off hot and do what you want it to do is very, very easy to find. It seems very large on this one, which is good. Now, the actual no kidding sweet spot might be a little small, but if you're gonna get that kind of performance outside of that sweet spot, doesn't really matter.
84 miles per hour.
Good.
94 miles per hour.
Easily gone. Easily gone.
92 miles per hour.
Oh yeah, that's the launch. Yeah, so as you saw, kind of between the two of us, performed really good with the 52s. Still kind of a quieter, softer sounding barrel, feeling barrel than like the standard issue, vanilla grill, things like that this year. But it's still performing really good. The little bit of wind gust we were getting punched through that just fine, even with it being hot. These balls are cooking pretty quick, so that's why I kind of wanted to push through this as kind of as quick as we could. But I also want to get this review done for you before this bat drops, so you got an idea if you want to pick it up or not, how it performs, 52s, chromes, all that kind of stuff. So that being said, I'll go final compression, and then there's a real quick final thoughts with just kind of what the two of us kind of chat about during that and what we think about it compared to kind of everything else out there. All right, now that we've got about 100 to 125 swings here on the standard issue. The first about 40 were 52s, and then the rest were the Pro M's. Again, a little bit hotter today, so I don't think it puts quite as much of a strain on the back because obviously the balls get a little bit softer. But whatever, either way, 100 to 125 swings. Let's see what we're testing at now. We started at 275, and we really didn't move much. We're still at right about 270, so that makes sense. Again, with the APCs, they are good, and this one was good out of the wrapper. We'll talk about more in the final thoughts, but just give it some BP. Try to drive it down about 260, and that's where you'll really find it'll start to really kick in another gear. That's at least how it worked last year, and then this year with kind of the Twisted Mistress model, for instance. All right, we are swings complete here with 52s, Pro M's, final compression there as well. And obviously you saw the velo kind of as we swung. We had a couple issues with it here and there. So on a couple of swings, you may not have heard the velo, but I think we got it for like 90% of it. We were having some issues obviously with the heat and things kind of overheating. But with all that being said, the standard issue, I mean, it really does remind me pretty much of last year's model with kind of probably a slight upgrade. I think it's more forgiving than last year's. However, I do think the sweet spot might be a little smaller so far, but as you just saw with the compression, whether it's because of the heat kind of out here and the balls being a little softer or just need some more swings, it's still sitting at like 270. And so from my experiences here with the APCs, you really want to get to 260 or lower to really open up that sweet spot. So like even with the Twisted Mistress, with how good it was out of the wrapper, a lot of that was, I think, the fact that that sweet spot did start a little bit larger, but it was also smaller barrel, so maybe easier to find it. Who knows? But either way, on this one, super forgiving. You saw kind of Keltner mentioned a few times, really just kind of felt like you couldn't miss with it, which was the good news. You really only got any kind of feedback, like bad feedback around the hands, whatever, if you got all the way down here near almost the stamp. And then even when you caught it high on it, it still came off okay. No kind of sting on the hands or anything like that, but you could at least feel it so you know that you missed it. So at least with the longer barrel, when you catch real high, real low, you know, as far as feedback goes. Slight downside, and again, it could be, again, the heat, but the rest of the barrel, even when whether you were catching sweet spot or not, there wasn't a ton of difference in feedback and sound, so a little hard at times to tell. But again, with the performance, it's not really going to matter. As well with this one, just remember this is the ZN alloy, or ZNX, I think might be what the full thing is. But either way, alloy handle, which is a little bit different from the Vanilla Gorilla and the Twisted Mistress. I couldn't really tell a difference as far as the overall feel. A little bit of a different sting when you got it down here, but other than that, not too bad. And then with this one as well, for me, it did feel a little bit light, whether it's the longer barrel with that half ounce or what it might be, but this is a 26.5. I have been swinging a 26 or 27.5 with Yates's Mistress and a 27 on the mid load, so that also could be part of it. But Keltner thought it felt a little light as well. So if you like a slightly heavier feel on your bats, and you normally swing like that 26, 26.5, maybe consider 27.5. But it's not so significant that I would be too worried about the 26.5. But just keep in mind that it does feel a little bit lighter than normal. However, another good one from DeMarini, handles the 52s really well, as you saw there. We still saw good speeds with the Pro M's without even breaking it really in at all with that kind of 270 range. So if you want to pick one of these up, again, these are going to drop at Headbanger Sports. Keep your eyes peeled kind of in the comments for a pinned post, or pinned comment, I should say, with the actual release date, because obviously at the time of shooting this, I'm not 100% sure when it's going to be. It should be late August, however. And then if you're over on following us on Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff, I'll have the date posted as well. For this one, it's going to be code ADS to save at checkout, or as always, just reach out, whether it's on Average Slow Pitch, any of the social medias, whatever it might be, and I will get you kind of the best price, best shipping I can. Again, a limited run on these ones, so if you want to pick one up, do so quickly before they sell out. Either way, hopefully you enjoyed this video. Hopefully help you kind of decide if you want to pick one of these up, or if you want to go with a different one of the DeMarini models, or just a different model all in general, different brand, whatever it might be. Thanks for supporting the channel. Have a great day.